gives me great pleasure to present you with this award with regard to the progress you've made with regard to cultural competency in the workplace. Well done, and many, many thanks for the brilliant work that you're doing.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Charles. Thank you, girls. So I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of our therapeutic support services at Bryn Aed Hospital. The work's been an absolute pleasure, and I would recommend this work to anybody as a way of, building a sense of harmony and community in whatever part of the health service you work, because it's been wonderful. And particularly thanks to Arub and Dawn, our psychologists, for supporting us in this work, and the whole of our service, really. So thank you very much, and thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I got it. And pin yourself.
So can you hear me in the back? Well, I've got to say, I just had a tear in my eye watching ourselves say thank you for that, and it just reminds me how what an emotional experience this has all been. I'm going to give people a quick snapshot of where we've got to and what we do here, and you'll be able to see then how the cultural competency scheme has enhanced it. So I'm a learning disability nurse, and I work in an inpatient setting in North Wales in Bryn Aed Hospital, and I manage a therapeutic support services, and we provide meaningful activities and therapies for people who are currently people with learning disabilities who are currently staying in the hospital. Our model is someone to talk to, something to do, and something to look forward to. So in the context of that, we run all kinds of activities and groups, and one of our groups is a service user group. And within that service user group, people come up with ideas for the kinds of things they would like to do with their time while they're in hospital and in the future when they leave hospital. So one of the things that the Diverse Cymru work has helped us do is offer the service user group a diary of activities which is about celebration. It's all about opportunities for celebrating lots of different cultural events throughout the year. So in terms of embedding into our service model, we have this great diary now that we take to folks and we say, these are the celebrations happening this month. What do you want to celebrate? And as a result, we have ended up with this really colourful and creative environment and model for doing our work, which I'll give an example. Tomorrow we celebrate Diwali. The last 2 weeks, the patients here have been creating all kinds of craft and musical and cooking sessions where they are contributing towards our celebration tomorrow. We have one person who is Hindu in the service at the moment, but everybody benefits from it. Everybody learns from it. And more importantly than that, anybody from our whole wider community who steps into this environment sees this environment full of pan-cultural stuff and immediately goes, there is a place for me in there. They feel a sense of ownership. The bus is already running. That environment for which there is a place for all members of our community. Now, so the service user group is great because it enables the service users to experience lots of these events, which are, learning events, activity events, fun events, things to look forward to whilst they're here. But it's also brilliant for our staff because, of course, they are the people supporting the service user group. So by default, they also must learn about all this wonderful stuff. Also, families are more involved, which is great. Changes that we've made to our practice also involve things like adding to our job description. We are particularly interested in applications from people with a high degree of cultural competence. So we are bit by bit beginning to select for diversity, which is wonderful. And learning disability nurses over time, I'm sure you are aware, have been interested in leveling the playing field for our patients. We want to create equitable communities, equitable health service for our folks. So I think we had a little bit of a head start in some of the thinking, but the most important part for me has been the actual self-assessment framework. Because here's the thing, self-awareness is hard won. And that framework has really helped us focus on it. The most upsetting thing about being part of this is the degree of unconscious bias that I have been alerted to in myself and in all the people around us. And so for us, the key commitment here is full on address this with regular introduction of activities and information and service from a really broad cultural field, networking with folks in the community, and ensuring that these dialogues go further than just making a curry in our kitchen. They are about core respect from the very beginning for all members of our community, whoever comes to the hospital. So that's essentially what we've done here. We use a world map where our patients, like, they'll go, right, we're going here this week, so we'll have to make something from that country. We'll have to talk about that culture. We'll hopefully get people in as well to talk about that. We do all kinds of wonderful celebrations, as I said. Diwali is our next one tomorrow, and I've got to say, we wouldn't have been able to do this without a number of supportive things. So on the list at the side of the people who are here, we've got Alex Fryer, and Alex Fryer is our modern matron, so she's my boss, and she's supported this 1,000%, which is wonderful, because you've got to have that managerial buy-in, haven't you? Secondly, Arub Sarwar, who I'm going to ask to say a few words in a minute, because Arub was a student with us, and Arub has just been so important in presenting the ideas here in a really kind of palatable and open, in the spirit of sharing, you know. So Arub came here, shared with us lots of detail about her own life and her own culture, and it just opened up a world for our staff, which was great. So after Arub said a few words, I'm going to hand over to our psychologist, who's also been part of this work here. So Arub, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, okay, hello. I would just like to say, first of all, I'm extremely thankful for this scheme and the chance to be able to work through it with Jane to make our services more culturally competent. I came to Jane as a student with some terrible racist experiences from other placements, and she helped me direct that negativity towards something more positive that will benefit our service, our staff, and most importantly, our patients. Becoming a more culturally competent service benefits our staff and our patients from different backgrounds, and it just shows that difference is something that should be accepted, celebrated, and respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Rube. I'd like to hand over to Dawn now, who's our psychologist.
Borodar Power. I think it's still Borodar. Yes,
Yep,
it is.
Just
Okay, so Jane and Arub asked me to say a few words today to illustrate how diverse Cymru's cultural competence training has impacted on those who attended from our service. So from my point of view, as a clinical psychologist co-located within the TSS service here, the cultural awareness and competence training received from Diverse Cymru as part of this certification process was a marvellous opportunity to reflect on my current practice. I mean, it certainly helps that my practice is already embedded within an inclusive environment such as TSS that epitomises the can-do attitude that Diverse Cymru asks us all to consider and embrace. TSS is geared up to accommodate the cultural needs of many people that cross our threshold, but is never afraid to extend this invitation of inclusion where further opportunities to learn and develop present. For me professionally, while I was well versed in NHS mandatory training in equality and diversity, and as a Welsh-speaking clinical psychologist able to deliver psychological assessment and treatment through Welsh where needed, the cultural competence training and self-assessment tool from Diverse Cymru was the thing that actually made me question myself and explore how I could improve on what I was already doing. I'm so pleased that I carved out this time, as there is no doubt that my practice has moved on and has embraced what Diverse Cymru is all about. That is, taking the next small step and then the next step to ensure that diversity and inclusivity is embedded in what we do and not just a tick box approach. So from a professional perspective, if you can imagine how psychological therapies are delivered, what if that formulation of well-being was embedded within a person's cultural beliefs, and that in turn informed the approach taken? For example, TSS and I are located within an inpatient setting in North Wales for adults with learning disabilities and autism, as Jane has already described. And as part of my role, I had the privilege of working with a woman who needed our services briefly. And in that time, and it was shortly after the Diverse Cymru training, I might add, I upped my game and stepped into her world and to understand well-being from her point of view, not the westernised approach to psychotherapy that largely occupies our NICE guidelines. Now that is contentious, I know, but in that moment, I didn't simply alter the approach I was taking to accommodate her communication and her cognitive needs. I took a perspective on well-being that was new to me, but relevant to this lady. Now, this approach was enhanced by the resources available here at TSS, and it's worth pointing out that a lot of these resources are donated or rely on fundraising from within this service. Jane and her team are relentless in their pursuit of inclusivity, and I'm most grateful to Jane and Arub for the opportunity afforded me with the offer of being part of the Cultural Competence Scheme by Diverse Cymru. So thank you, ladies, for that. But also a big thanks to Suzanne and Charles for braving the train journey last week to visit us. I think a certificate should go to them just for that too. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I just finish just by saying that Charles and Suzanne also took their lives into their hands by being taken back to the train station by dawn, because sometimes their driving is a little bit, let's say, creative. So thank you, Suzanne and Charles. We look forward to working with you in the future. Our plan here now is to extend our, Arub and I have already started doing this, as has Dawn. We're going to bring the things that we've learned from the Cultural Competency Scheme into our training programs, our LD specific training programs, but also we are currently running sessions for mental health students in Bangor University. We're going to introduce that into Llandrillo College and to Wrexham University as well. And you know, to teach mental health students and learning disability students about this really super important issue. And of course, it's the World Cup next, so that's a really big opportunity for us to do some pan-cultural stuff. So all the best, everybody, and super thank you. It's been great, and we look forward, Charles, to our Silver Plus next year.
Okay, thank you.